Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just 6 days away from its official release by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future content. Now, as we get closer to the release of this movie, a lot of fans have mixed feelings, mixed emotions, mixed thoughts about going into this movie based on what they have seen and heard about Episode 9. Everything related to how Disney and Lucasfilm are all set and ready to wrap up the entire Skywalker saga that has actually been around since 1977, that is now coming to an end here in 2019. Now, I wanted to go over one of the big leaks and why they are true and why it really just destroys my soul at the very end of this movie, since it is indeed real. We will be going over the very ending and, of course, the proof that confirms the ending of Episode 9. So, if you guys don't want to be spoiled and you aren't here for spoilers, I do suggest that you guys head out of this video right now. But anyways, without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, in case you guys did not know, the very ending of this film is said to fully explain the official title of The Rise of Skywalker and exactly what it really means at the very end of the movie. Now, specifically, one of the sequences that unfold at the very end of the film is said to involve a sequence in which there is a celebration between many of the heroes, such as Rey, Finn, Poe, Chewbacca, Maz Kanata, and more, where they are said to be celebrating just like how they did with the Rebels and how they celebrated on Endor. This is all said to lead to a sequence in which Rey and her team heads over to the world of Tatooine, where they are said to find a new home to settle on after defeating the Final Order and Darth Sidious, where there is now peace and justice throughout the entire galaxy, and that Rey has brought balance to the Force. Now, the end of the film is set to establish that Rey has become the Chosen One, where she is holding both Anakin and Leia's lightsabers in front of the Lars homestead, looking out to a binary sunset, just as Luke did in Star Wars A New Hope. Rey decides to bury the lightsabers as a way to honor both Luke and Leia and to make that serve as their grave on Tatooine. Eventually, a villager comes out of the Lars homestead and asks who Rey is and that nobody has been around here in years. Rey states that she is Rey Skywalker, where she smiles and a brand new John Williams theme begins to get louder over the shot as all of our heroes watch and look out to a binary sunset where the Force ghosts of Luke and Leia are seen in the background, looking at Rey and her friends. So this, I will say, I think is going to divide a lot of fans around the world. Now let's get into the proof of the ending of Episode 9 and why it does match up with the leaks that we've been talking about. Now, you guys may or may not know a man named Dan Mendell, right? He is a director of photography for The Rise of Skywalker. He posted a photograph on Instagram and immediately took it down not too long ago. And the set is actually the world of Tatooine. I mean, you couldn't really confirm this any more than that. So, if you guys have not seen the photograph, it will be linked below in the description. Go ahead and check it out. At the time of filming this, I will decide if I want to actually include it in the video at this moment. If it is here, it's here. But anyways, in the actual image, you can see, Dan Mendell are actually, as the Rise of Skywalker's director of photography, holding a light, and in the background you can see where the Lars homestead would go, where you do see that crater with the crane right over the actual set where you have the Lars homestead eventually. Now, this also lines directly up with the shot that was leaked at the very end of Episode 9, where it said there's supposed to be a camera shot where it lifts up by a crane over the Lars homestead and looks out to a binary sunset as the credits roll. Now, obviously, you can see the crane when you go ahead and check out that Dan Mendell image that he actually posted on Instagram and took down. I do suggest that you guys go ahead and check it out. It's below in the description, and it's a very interesting photograph because this most certainly confirms the leak of the very ending, the final frames of The Rise of Skywalker, of heading over to the world of Tatooine. Again, if this isn't enough to convince you, the fact that he took it down from Instagram immediately also confirms a lot of that. Now, Dan Mendell, alright, he's been around for quite a while, very nice guy and all, but it seems like he made a big mistake because he realized that, things were really getting out there related to Tatooine and the whole Rey Skywalker thing, and how that literally in itself confirmed the very ending of Episode 9. So everything with this, alright, a lot of fans are very intrigued about, episode 9 and exactly, how it's all going to unfold. A lot of fans are very worried about this as well. And I will say that the whole Rey Skywalker thing is terrible. I have to say this, it's terrible. A lot of fans are going into this movie thinking that the Rise of Skywalker means something to do with Anakin or Luke or something around those lines. Now, keep in mind, I'm a Star Wars fan. I really am a Star Wars fan at heart, but the way things are sounding with the Rise of Skywalker, at least for like 85% of the movie, things really aren't sounding too bright at all, especially the very ending of episode 9 where you have the moment in which she calls herself Rey Skywalker. I just hope it's not delivered in a cringy way by Daisy Ridley. I just hope not. I hope it's at least, at the very minimum, delivered in a decent way by Daisy. And I just hope it's not like a cringe fest at the very end of the actual film. But the very end of this movie, like I say, it's a very interesting thing because we actually have been talking about this for a very long time, and a lot of fans have been expressing their opinion on the whole Rey Skywalker thing. I would say that more than 90% of fans, from what we can actually tell, actually do not like the idea of Rey being called Rey Skywalker by adopting the Skywalker title and identifying as a Skywalker. That's basically what this is. She is not a Skywalker by blood, she just calls herself Rey Skywalker because she wants to overwrite the fact that she's a Palpatine, basically, right? So, in this movie, in case you guys did not know, she's said to be Palpatine's granddaughter, which is going to be a very interesting side of the story, because now J.J. Abrams is setting it up that, the fact that she's the granddaughter of Palpatine, she's going to be the chosen one, and she's a Palpatine at the same time, and also becomes a Skywalker. I mean, I think it's just a convoluted mess at the very end of the movie, not just because of what's going on with the character of Rey, but of all the things that are being rewritten for this movie. Essentially, all the 8 Star Wars films that come before this one basically makes it like Anakin was never the chosen one, and that Anakin's story never really mattered. He never destroyed the Sith, he never destroyed Darth Sidious, and that was never a thing. It's all for Rey now at this point. Everything leading up to episode 9 was all about Rey, and that Rey was the chosen one. That, to me, I think, is another thing that a lot of fans are going to have an issue with. The fact that Rey is the one to destroy Palpatine once and for all, I think is really going to be a big deal for a lot of fans out there. I really do. Some people may actually like that idea. I personally don't. Sure, she gets help from the Force Ghosts and all, I understand that, and I can understand that, but I feel that that is just Disney's way of justifying, or at least having a little backup reason as to why Rey is able to do such a thing against Palpatine. That's just how I see it, at least. Seems like that they had to do anything that they could in order to make the majority of fans at least see it as somewhat of a decent, death of Palpatine. He literally disintegrates and explodes. That's how Palpatine dies in this movie, by the hands of Rey, deflecting his Sith lightning back at him. You would think somebody with over 100 years of Sith training or dark side training would at least think of a remote chance that the lightning could be redirected back at him. You would think that, right? I mean, because Palpatine already went through that with Mace Windu, where the lightning shot back at him and it deformed his face and his entire body. So you would think that he would have the knowledge to maybe strike the lightning when she doesn't have a lightsaber in her hand, or force grab the sabers out of her hand and then strike her. That to me would have made more sense, right? But anyways, guys, I would really like to hear what each and every one of you have to say about the entire situation here. Everything related to what Dan Mendell posted. Once again, the Rise of Skywalker director of photography posted it, deleted it. I'm not sure if he reposted it or not. I'll have to check. But he did, in fact, delete it immediately once people started catching on, and how it does match up at the very ending. The final frames of The Rise of Skywalker involving Rey calling herself Rey Skywalker on Tatooine. Like I say in that image, you can see where the Lars homestead is supposed to sit, right near that little excavation site. You can see that in the background with the crane over it, which is supposed to look out to the binary sunset. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.